The road to Tokyo may have become 12 months longer than anyone anticipated, but the countdown is well and truly on. With 90 days until the Olympic Games, it's time for the 2021 World Athletics Continental Tour Gold to embark on its own journey. This is meeting number 1 of a tour that will take us right across the globe over the next 5 months, and a more spectacular opening stop you couldn't wish for as we land at one of the most historic venues in athletics, sporting its brand new look ahead of next year's World Championships. Welcome to Hayward Field in Eugene, Oregon for the USATF Grand Prix, with world and Olympic champions on show right across the program over the next 2 hours. Wherever you're listening around the world, hello from me, Chris Temple, joined on commentary by 6 times major championship medalist Jenny Meadows. And Jenny, what a place to start the tour.
You know what, Chris, this actually is one of the few times where I'm really jealous and I wish I wasn't retired. I never got the opportunity to compete at this iconic venue, and the upgrades look absolutely magnificent.
We'll talk more about that as we go through the evening, but as you can see, we are straight into the action. We'll give you a flavour of what's coming up, but the women's 400 metres is some place to start, let's tell you, because we have, including that lady, Shawnee Miller-Uibo, the Olympic champion, the world silver medalist in Doha in that super fast time of 48.37 behind NASA, making her season debut over 400 metres today. She has the likes of the 2017 world champion Phyllis Francis inside her as well. This really is a stacked field to kick us off over one lap, and most of these athletes taking the opportunity to see what they're at, see where they're at, as we see Phyllis Francis, the 2017 world champion from London, who PB'd that 49.61 you can see on the screen there. That was only good enough for 5th in Doha. As we see the sights, the familiar green with a bit of yellow of the University of Oregon Ducks at the redeveloped Hayward Field. This, of course, the first professional meeting since the venue has been rebuilt at a cost of hundreds of millions of dollars. As we stand by to kick off over one lap, Kendall Ellis goes in lane 3, Phyllis Francis in 4, Lina Irby's in 5, Shawnee Miller-Uibo in 6, Wadeline Jonathas, the USA relay anchor in Doha for gold, she's in 7, Jessica Beard, who's had a busy season already, she goes in 8, and right on the outside, Jade Stepter, the former hurdler, she is in lane 9. 7 ladies lining up for the first event live with us of the World Athletics Continental Tour Gold for 2021, as we get some early sighters towards Tokyo. So away we go. Miller-Uibo in lane 6, already starting to make progress on Jonathas out her, and also inside. Lina Irby has gone off strongly in the very early stages. Jade Stepter right on the outside in lane 9 as well. But Miller-Uibo with that tall, lengthy stride, already well up on Jonathas, who will be looking to come strong in the second half of the race. It's Miller-Uibo looking very comfortable in these first 200 metres. On her inside, Lina Irby. And then a big gap back to the athletes in lanes 2 and 3. Phyllis Francis really struggling at this stage, but it's Miller-Uibo from Irby into the straight. We'll keep an eye on the clock as in 3rd place, Jessica Beard in the silver outfit on the outside coming through, but it's Miller-Uibo pushing all the way through to the line to take a comfortable win in 49.08. Goodness me, what a start to the season. It looks as easy as you like from Shawnee Miller-Uibo, who probably can't believe what she's seen. 49.08 for a season opener. 0.6 of a second there or thereabouts outside that personal best. And no surprise, the fastest time in this fledgling early stage year, Jenny Meadows.
Wow, well, we thought that a sub-50 might be on the cards here, but this is Miller-Uibo here, just coming into that last 100 metres. Look how relaxed she is. And, you know, for someone who's got so much speed over the 200 metre distance, she really increases the gap over that last 50 metres. And what I really liked about her is that relaxation in her face. And also, you know, 400 metres, if you've never ran a 400 metres, which I presume you haven't, Chris.
I haven't.
You are absolutely flooded with lactic acid, and, you know, Shawnee was not needing to find that line. She was still coming through the line with plenty of momentum. I heard she was in good shape, but I think she shocked herself there.
Well, I reckon a quick toss-up, Jenny. I think that's in the top 15 all-time performances. And what a way to open her account at the site of the 2022 World Athletics Championships at the University of Oregon. Miller-Uibo 49.08, Lina Irby 50.28, solid run from her as well. Jessica Beard came through well in the closing stages. And Phyllis Francis not on that graphic of 6th there. She was certainly struggling through the first 250, wasn't she, Phyllis Francis? She was tailing away in the background.
So much depth, isn't there, in the US women's, 400 metres. And I was actually looking at the start list there. There's, 4 girls there, 4 women who were running in the heats, at least, of Doha. But here we go, we can actually see the timetable for the next 2 hours. Some great events coming up. We've already had the heats of the women's and the men's 100 metres, so we're straight into the final there. And for any of the viewers, you can hopefully have seen that screenshot. You know not to look away. It's an action-packed 2 hours, and wow, what a start to the programme.
Well, don't look away is absolutely the right message. As we see the conditions there was forecast to be a bit of rain. I think at the moment that seems to be holding off, which is good news. As we pick up a bit of the men's long jump, Jacob Fincham Dukes of Great Britain, but overcast conditions, quite cool as well, Jen. So I guess for sprinters, not too bad. The wind, we've seen a couple of decent tailwinds, 1 or 2 PBs that have been chalked off by strong tailwinds in the 100 metres particularly as well. But I think dry is quite important, isn't it?
It is, especially for those field events, as you say, Chris, when you're trying to find your rhythm on the runway, etc. But, sometimes this venue, it can be cold, it can be wet. And I look back to the NCAA champs a couple of years ago when Ray Benjamin ran 47.02. At the time, it was the 2nd fastest ever in 400 metre hurdle history. And that was on a very wet day, about 11, 12 degrees. So this actually looks quite tropical compared to that day.
Let's just bring you up to date with something we saw a little bit earlier on. We'll be seeing the final of later on, which is the women's and the men's 100 metres. We've already had the heat, or the semi-final, if you like, which will result in the final, which we'll see later on in the programme. The headlines as far as the women's 100 metres, Blessing Okengbare was the fastest qualifier with 11.01. Great performance from Kemba Nelson, 11.08, which would have been enough for a PB, but with a 2.4 metres per second tailwind, not eligible, of course, for any record purposes with that tailwind. Tiana Daniels, Daryl Neater, Jenna Prandini, Moralake Akinosen, Tiana Bartoletta, Alison Felix running over 100, and Christania Williams will be the 9 to line up in the final. Brianna Williams, the former World Under-20 or World Under-20 still champion, didn't make the final. That was the interesting note from the women's 100 metres heats earlier on. As far as the men's 100 metres semi-finals were concerned, Trayvon Bramale was the fastest qualifier for the final, 10.01 he ran. Matadi of Liberia, Noah Lyles, 10.28 for his heat. Cameron Burrell, Jalen Bacon, Divine Odeduru, Cravon Gillespie, Mike Rogers, the birthday boy, turning 36 today, and Chris Belcher will make up the 9 to take on the men's 100 metres final. And that is due in around about 40 minutes from now. 2:46 local time in Eugene, Oregon. The women's 100 metres final precedes that. Our next track event will be one that you will certainly be interested in, Jenny. And from a British point of view, anybody watching in the UK will certainly be interested in, because Laura Muir goes in the women's 1500 metres, which is our next track event. And she'll be up against the comeback queen, Jenny Simpson. Jenny Meadows.
Yeah, this is an event that I'm really desperate to watch. 2 of my favourite athletes of all time. We've got Laura Muir, of course, such a gutsy performer. 4 times European indoor champion. She's done the double-double, very reminiscent of Mo Farah outdoors, obviously, in the men's equivalent. And Jenny Simpson, what an absolutely inspirational kind of icon, really, of, US middle distance running. She always gets it right. Even when her season isn't quite going right, she always seems to come and produce the goods. And I'm really hoping that she can have another stellar performance here. So yeah, really looking forward to this one, Chris.
Just to update you on Phyllis Francis, by the way, she didn't quite make our results graphic, but she did finish in 53.04, so a disappointing opener for Phyllis Francis over 400 metres in what is a very competitive event as far as American women particularly are concerned, but a hugely impressive performance from Shawnee Miller-Weibo, 49.06. And as you say, Jen, you knew what shapes you were in because you were in Florida the best part of 2 days ago.
I was, and I've spoke to a lot of, the group from Pure Athletics that trained down there, and people told me that Shawnee was in shape. They thought she'd go sub 50, but gosh, she nearly went sub 49, didn't she?
That will certainly be one to watch as we see Jenny Simpson drawn at position 12. 34 years of age now, the 2011 1500 metres world champion from Daegu. couple of silver medals at the World Championships as well. Nikki Hiltz, the Pan American champion over 1,500 metres. 4:01 athlete. Her best. Laura Muir, a couple from the outside there in the navy blue strip with hip number 11. 4 times a European indoor champion, of course, over 1,500 metres. Doing the double in 17 and 19. I say over 1,500 metres, doing the double in 17 and 19. Currently world ranked number 3. Laura Muir, and she's been out training with her training partner Gemma Reekie, who goes in the 800 metres a little bit later on.
Yeah, we've got some amazing events coming on. Here's Laura Muir. You can see her personal best, 3:55.22. It was quite a few years ago now since she broke Dame Kelly Holmes' British record. She did that on home soil in the London Anniversary Stadium. She's gone on and ran a couple of seconds faster than that now. But this women's 1,500 metres, this has been one of the events that really has been on fire. Doha World Championships 2 years ago, you know, the whole of the field ran sub 4 minutes. So some amazing personal best against many women's names. And I can just hear Jenny Simpson now getting introduced. I say to the crowd, she's getting introduced over the stadium's Hanoi. Unfortunately, this event has not been allowed any spectators. Really, really making sure that they do their utmost to really make sure they abide by the COVID protocols. I'll probably talk more about that later on. But we can see here from the outside, we've got Lawrence Cote from Canada. She's been tasked to take the pace of this race. They're hoping to come in, well, I was going to say around about 4 minutes, but Laura Muir is not waiting for the pace. Cote is supposed to take them through 800 metres in 2:09. So if everyone's got the calculators ready, 2:08 would be even pacing at 4 minutes. Knowing that Laura Muir, the way she likes to race, she generally likes to wind up the pace. So Laura Muir is not doing what she normally does. She's going straight from the front. We can see what her intentions are. This would suggest to me that that training has gone really, really well. She chose for the first year not to do an indoor season. She's been training hard in Flagstaff, as she said, Chris, with a training partner, Gemma Reekie, who'll go in the 800 metres. And I'm just really looking for the clock here, because Laura's really took this race by the scruff of its neck, and just trying to find out what time she went through 400 metres there.
Well, the split on our computer here, certainly at 300 metres, she was doing 45.46. We haven't got a 400 metre split up at the moment. We hopefully will get a clock on the screen very shortly. It was interesting to see Lawrence Cote, this pacemaker, Jen. She's actually got a wristwatch in her left hand that she's looking down at. It's an unorthodox way to pacemake.
It is, but I actually did a season of pacemaking, and I've got to say, for anybody who's sat there in the comfort of their armchair at home, it's very, very difficult to do that. So I never actually adopted that method of actually having the stop clock in my hand.
That's what I meant. That was the unorthodox part of it, was to actually be holding the watch. As you can see in her left hand there, Lawrence Cote in the white. Jenny Simpson was tucked pretty much towards the back of that main group, as we see going through in 150 or so across the line there.
Well, it's fast, and I think Lawrence Cote has probably realised that Laura Muir is going at a pace that probably wasn't agreed at, and maybe she's pacing the rest of the field to around about 2:09. She certainly seems to be looking at her watch, as you said, Chris, and you know, I think the rest of the field, well, firstly, they wouldn't be able to go with Laura Muir for a start. You know, it's the first race of the season, and to obviously start off at the sort of pace that we think Laura is running at, a lot of the girls just won't be in this shape at the moment. So I'm just looking there. I mean, it's 900 metres in around about 2:28. So Cote drops out there, and a split at 1,000 metres would be a little bit more handy for me, but nevertheless, Laura Muir is running a great race. I think sometimes as an athlete, you know that you're in shape, you know what the stop clock says when you're doing your training runs, and you just got to think to yourself sometimes, okay, I'm ready to run this time. If nobody else is ready, well, I just need to take advantage. So here Laura Muir is at the bell, 400 metres to go. I got a quick look, that was around about 2 minutes 57. That is just outside 4 minutes pace. So Jenny Simpson here comes into second place. She's followed by Corey McGee. And yeah, the race is Laura's to win now, isn't it?
Danny Jones just moving into second place, the 2019 NCAA champion over 5,000 metres, with Corey McGee, as you say Nikki Hiltz just going backwards slightly. Jenny Simpson actually is still way back through the field at the moment, as we see Helen Schlachtenhaufen in 4th position as well. But it's Laura Muir coming around into the final 200 metres, chasing a clock here, certainly, Jenny.
Yeah, she looked like she went through in around about 3 minutes 30, so maybe she'd just be outside 4 minutes at this stage. You can always tell that Laura works hard. You can see that grimace on her face there. And I actually thought Jenny Simpson was a little bit further up the field, obviously with a lot of girls with the same kit on. And this is Kate Grace, I think, coming into 2nd place now. In fact, I'm wrong, Chris. Tell me who it is.
Keep your eye on Laura Muir anyway. The clock stops at 4:01.52. It's Schlachtenhaufen who takes 2nd place in the end, ahead of McGee 3rd. Danny Jones was 4th, and then Hilth came through for 5th. But Laura Muir 4:01.54 for the Great Britain athlete. Her PB, of course, is in the 3:55. But we know she's been out there working hard, training with Gemma Reiki, as you say, out there in the US. And how will she be feeling, do you think, about that? It's always hard when the post-race grimace is still on her face, but what will she be thinking about that?
Well, you know, knowing Laura, I think she'll probably be disappointed, even though she's, you know, absolutely took the mantle to the rest of this field. Some real world-class women in this race. Laura definitely will be in a hard phase of training. I certainly don't think she'll be peaking for this race. I think she started off pretty fast. Maybe she's just got a little bit of training in her legs that caught up with her towards the end. But, you know, this is me talking about a 4:01 performance, which is world class any day of the week. So she would have expected to come here and get the win. She did. I'm sure personally she would have wanted to go a little bit quicker, but she had absolutely no help. It was just a time trial. And this is the sight that we're used to seeing with Laura Muir, absolutely giving it everything out there on the day.
So confirmation there, Schlachtenhaufen 4:04.36. Danny Jones ran really well for a PB of 4:05. As I say, the former NCAA champion, or the current NCAA champion over 5,000 metres. That's a couple of seconds trimmed off her PB. Sage Herter as well, one of the up-and-coming American stars, the 22-year-old, and also a PB for her by a second or so. And Vani Kalati, the athlete from Eritrea, who's run a big PB by about 6 seconds or so there as well. So Jenny Simpson down in 9th position with 4:10, as we say, on the comeback trail, Jenny. And, well, certainly it gives everybody, at least this, doesn't it, a yardstick as to where they're at. As we pick up the men's long jump. This is Jarvis Gotch, who is currently in 5th position, as you can see on the caption, with a best jump of 7:38. Marquise Dendy, the current leader, with 7:81. This is round 4 for Jarvis Gotch. It's a bit tight on the board there from Gotch, but he bounces out of the pit, and in fact that's being braked, so that must be a red flag for Jarvis Gotch in round 4. So Dendy 7:81, the leader in this. Holland Martin of the Bahamas 7:68. Jacob Fincham Dukes of Great Britain 7:67. The top 3 currently in the men's long jump. It's confirmation of what's been a difficult series so far for the American Jarvis Gotch.
Yeah, this event looks like it's just taking a little bit of time to heat up. We're just watching here on the takeoff. Oh, actually didn't look too much over the board there. But I think long jump and, you know, all the technical events, they've obviously, all the athletes have really struggled during COVID. Obviously, they've not been able to have access to facilities. It's been quite interesting, actually. Obviously, it's a situation that no one has ever experienced before. And when younger athletes normally ask me for advice, I normally think I'm pretty good at giving it. But the whole COVID era, no one has got any answers. But I think it hasn't affected, you know, middle distance and endurance athletes as much. And in fact, in 2020, so many people ran personal best times, which was great. But these technical events have really been affected.
So we continue in the men's long jump with Mohamed Abu Bakr, the Ghanaian. Marcus Simpson. The caption's just catching up there. Our computer is a round behind. It's a red flag for him. So 1 or 2 of the athletes. We said there's been a bit of a tailwind out there at times for the sprints as well. That might be affecting 1 or 2 of the long jump athletes at certain periods as well. So a foul in round 5. Jacob Fincham Dukes is due to go next. Best in the world this year is a mark of 8:27 by Tajay Gale. Jumped that in Florida a couple of weeks ago. In fact, just the computer and the infield scoreboard are certainly showing different things there as we see that spectacular sight from Eugene, that amazing tower in the background as well. 10 stories high. The University of Oregon track and field staff at observation deck in there as well. And certainly massive images of 4 athletes, the late Steve Prefontaine, Raven Rogers, who we'll see later on, one of the heroes of the University of Oregon, Ashton Eaton, a couple of times Olympic decathlon gold, Otis Davis as well, and the famed Oregon coach Bill Bowerman, all have their massive faces on the side of that fantastic observation tower. One of the features of the new Hayward Field, rebuilt at a cost of $270 million or so. And you can see why so many people, Jenny, have taken the opportunity in this opening Continental Tour Gold meeting to go and have a feel of conditions there, even with no spectators, and it all being slightly different to what it will be next year.
It looks fantastic, doesn't it? Anyone who's got the opportunity, they've definitely taken that up. And here we can see Fincham Dukes. This was round 4.
Yeah, looks like certainly a replay, isn't it? Because that's running slightly in slow motion. So Jacob Fincham Dukes, his best so far was 7:67 in round 1.
Interesting when we've obviously seen the caption of some of the distances that these men have gone out to. The automatic qualification standard for the Olympic championships is 8:22. So none of those men have managed to get over that distance here today.
Well, next on the track is the men's 200 metres. And again, some real interest in this one. 7 athletes line up, including Jimmy Vico of France, 3 times a World Championship finalist, a World Championship silver medalist in the relay. 20.3, his best goes way back to 2013. 29 now, Jimmy Vico, so he's got a few of the up-and-coming young bucks to contend with. Ramonte McLean of the USA right on the inside. Sonoy J. Givens of Jamaica. Jimmy Vico of France. Jereme Richards of Trinidad and Tobago, the World Championship bronze medalist from London 2017. Josephus Lyles, brother, of course, of Noah. It's a tag he'll never shake off, unfortunately. Christopher Taylor of Jamaica, twice a World Junior silver medalist. And right on the outside, Rodney Rowe of the USA. Men's 200 metres. Best in the world this year, 1981, set by Terence Laird last month. So away they go, first time, a strong start by Richards in black on the outside of Jimmy Vico. Also going well is Josephus Lyles, just outside him. It's probably just Josephus Lyles, but now Jereme Richards coming through on his inside. Rodney Rowe closest to the camera. Jereme Richards, the Trinidadian, has it at the moment from Josephus Lyles, and it's Richards who takes it. 20.27 the winning time for Jereme Richards. Improved slightly on his season's best set last weekend in Gainesville, Florida. Takes 400ths or so off that, and the 2017 World Championship bronze medalist looks pretty pleased with that performance.
Yeah, it's good to see some of these guys just, you know, test out their early season form. They've been putting the hard work in. They've been lifting a lot of weights probably in the weights room, and we can just see here Richards just powering there to the line. In fact, a little bit like Shawnee Miller-Weibo, going all the way through the line, still plenty of momentum.
Well, he missed the final in Doha by just 0.08 of a second, Jereme Richards. So after those World Championship successes in London, now he's got his sights set on Tokyo. He's due to be in the Trinidad and Tobago World Relay squad, which is next weekend, of course, in Silesia, in Poland. A few teams, unfortunately, due to the COVID restrictions, aren't going to be there, but there's sure to be some hot competition. And Trinidad and Tobago, of course, very strong, particularly in the 4x400 metres relay. As we see confirmation there of that result. Richards 20.26 ahead of Lyles and Taylor. Jimmy Vico 21.05 for the Frenchman. First of the Lyles brothers in action then, with Noah to come in the final of the 100 metres for men a little bit later on. It is a shame, of course, to have no spectators. The area of Lane County, which Eugene, Oregon falls into, has unfortunately right now moved from low risk into a high risk of COVID infection. So there's been even tighter restrictions maybe than the USATF Grand Prix organisers had hoped for this meet. But the spectators you can see scattered around are those associated with the athletes, coaches and support staff and the like. That's one way to exit the pit. As long as you keep moving forward, doesn't matter how you get out of the pit, does it?
I wonder whether that one's been measured. It's worth actually saying, you know, we're talking about the athletes, you know, and all the COVID protocols, but, you know, we must give a big, you know, hats off to all of the officials. You can see that they've all obviously wearing the masks, they're social distancing, they've had to undergo all the COVID tests, the PCR tests, the lateral flow tests, and it's a big commitment from them as well. So, you know, officials make this meet happen, so absolutely fantastic that this meet has actually got off the ground and it's happening.
Couldn't echo that anymore, absolutely. Tremaine Jefferson then in the last round. It's been a struggle for him so far to find a rhythm. 7:34 has him in 7th position. We're heading towards the final group of jumps. Marquise Dendy still the leader with 7:81. In fact, an absolute raft of fouls throughout this competition. Only Mohamed Abu Bakr has managed more than 2 legal jumps in this competition, as Jefferson in the final round looked a bit heavy on the board there. We'll wait to see if that one is to be measured. And out comes the rake straight away, so that will tell us that will be a foul to finish with for Tremaine Jefferson. So just looking at the computer, Jenny, an absolute host of fouls in this. Again, athletes looking to find their rhythm and, of course, getting used to the runway and all the different little variables that can happen. Lots of people, of course, haven't competed outdoors for, some of them, 18 months.
Yeah, when we think back to that World Championships in Doha, like you say, you know, 18, 19 months ago now, and these technical events, as I say, you know, it needs a lot of preparation, but, you know, it's only April, so better now. I was actually going to say, I wonder whether that's a record, but I actually saw there was a competition recently where there was 7 pole vault competitors, and every single one of them no-heighted. So we're doing better than that.
Well, actually, that final round jump, although it was raked very quickly, I presume that made it a red flag. But obviously, the digital measuring devices are super sharp out there, because actually that's 7.60 for Tremaine Jefferson. So, without getting a camera shot of the official sat by the board to see the white or red flag, I was jumping to a conclusion there that the fact the official raked the pit after about 3 seconds after the jump, that would mean it was probably a foul. But Jefferson registers 7.60, which doesn't improve his position to 7th position. Jacob Fincham Dukes then of Great Britain, former European under-20 silver medalist from Leeds, but currently studies at Oklahoma State University. He's currently in 5th position, 7.67, which is 30 centimetres or so behind Marquise Dendy. That looks a big foul. We don't need to see a camera shot of that one. He can rake that one as quick as he likes, because unfortunately for Fincham Dukes, his final jump is not an improvement, but 7.67, one of his 2 legal jumps for the Brit. Lots of intriguing field events to come later on, by the way. The women's hammer, we'll see Deanna Price, the world champion, who threw a massive new North American record. We'll see the women's shot put, which has got a huge depth of US talent in it as well. Still to come, Christian Taylor in the men's triple. The likes of Raven Rogers, Gemma Reekie, Melissa Bishop in the women's 800. The women's 100 metres hurdles has Sydney McLaughlin going up against Jasmine Camacho Quinn, who's been in banging form, the Puerto Rican. And the men's 1500 final should be fascinating as well. Donovan Brazier against Bryce Hopple. And we close with the men's 400 metres final, which pits Michael Norman against his good pal and teammate Rai Benjamin, amongst others. The hurdler going on the flat today. That's our closing event at 3:53, sorry, local time in Eugene. Holland Martin, though, for the Bahamas, currently in 4th position in the men's long jump with 7.68 meters. Personal best of 7.90. What's happening with Holland Martin here then? Has he got out of order? No. Well, he can't quite get it sorted at the moment. He's putting his top back on, so there's a slight delay for Holland Martin for reasons that aren't wholly clear. Oh, in fact, we're holding it for the start of a track race, which will be the women's college 800 metres. So we look at the start list for this one. Caitlin Ryan of Stanford goes on the inside. Ellie Digliani of Stanford in 2. Rachel MacArthur goes in 3. Christy Schofield in 4. Madeline Kelly goes in 5 there in shot. Susan Ajuri in 6. Mia Merck of Oregon, the home team, the Ducks, goes in 7. Michaela DeGenero in 8. And Konachek, Anita Konachek, also of the Oregon Ducks, on the outside. College women's 800 metres. 1 or 2 of the events dropped into the USATF Grand Prix program here. We'll keep an eye with the expert 800 metres eye of the 6 times major championship medalist Jenny Meadows, a 157 runner in her pomp. She's still in her pomp, of course, but these days as a commentator rather than as a athlete. Coming right across on the outside, Konachek of the University of Oregon. I'm sure looking to make an impression. Of course, the university athletes, Jen, have been training on this track for quite some time now. Nobody will be more used to it than the university students themselves.
How lucky are the university students who actually come and study at Oregon? Their facilities are absolutely fantastic, and for them to be able to take advantage of that, that's great. But I'm a huge fan of these development races. It just gets younger athletes the opportunity, the exposure to be around those senior professional athletes, and of course a lot of them will be aiming to make it to the top themselves. So just watching through here, ignore the clock there, it was 59.17 second there for Konachek.
Well, Konachek, the pacemaker, moves aside then as Madeline Kelly, the Canadian 25-year-old, with a PB of 2:01.27, set in her native Hamilton in August 2019. In behind her, as we see Konachek, the pacemaker, stepping off the track.
Konachek did a great job, didn't she, Chris? She set them up all the way to 500 metres, and Madeline Kelly here with 200 metres remaining. She went through in around about 1:31, so about 30 seconds will bring her right to her personal best, 2:01, and she looks like she's pretty strong this last 100 metres as well. Let's hope that she can come in around about that personal best. It'd be a great start to her season.
Well, Susan Ajuri of Kenya, also a University of Oregon student, is in pursuit in second place. But it's going to be Madeline Kelly, who's officially listed as unattached as far as the college system is concerned, who's coming up towards the line. She's not going to be too far out of her lifetime best, which was 2:01 and bits. It's 2:02.85 in the end for Madeline Kelly. Susan Ajuri takes second, 2:05, and it's Rachel MacArthur of Colorado, 2:06 comes through for third. But a good run from Madeline Kelly, 2:02 as we say.
Yeah, 2:02, it's not that far outside the sort of times that you'll see the women run in the professional race later on. Obviously, we're really looking forward to that one with Gemma Reekie, with Raven Rogers. But, you know, around about 2 minutes, 2:01, that's world-class international racing, and 2:02 for a college student's great.
Yeah, when you look at the Olympic qualifier, which is 1:59.5 for the women's 800 metres, that's her first 800 metres of the season as well, outdoors, Madeline Kelly. She's PB'd over 1,000 metres last month, running a 2:40. She last season ran a couple of events. She PB'd with 2:05.4 last year in just a handful of events she ran. So certainly as far as Canada are concerned, that could be, she's 25, so not fully up and coming, but certainly plenty of potential left. And an excellent performance from Madeline Kelly to take the win in 2:02.87, rounded up in the end, as we see that amazing tower and that observation deck in the corner of this brand new Hayward Field, which is 12,500 or so permanent seats. They can expand that up to 25,000 for the World Championships. The far end that you can see there in the picture, the northern end of the stadium, that I think is the end that can be extended upwards to add in those extra seats for what will be a spectacular event. Middle of July next year, delayed of course from this year, and it will be the first time the World Championships have ever been held in the US. They had the 2016 World Indoors in Portland, about 100 miles up the road from Eugene. The World Juniors have been at Hayward Field and its former guys, but never the World Senior Championships. As we pick up the confirmed result in the end from the men's long jump, Marquise Dendy taking the victory with 7 metres at 98. World Indoor Champion from 2016 in Portland. He took the bronze in Birmingham in 2018 indoors. And that's just outside his season's best from earlier on in the month. Jacob Fincham Dukes for Great Britain audience, 767 for the Leeds athlete in 5th. Just while we're talking about the stadium, Jenny, as well, and the amazing facilities, not only is there, of course, what we can see in front of us, the competitive arena, but some unbelievable facilities for practice and for training. Every single event has got its own indoor practice area underneath the stands. You can see there are 3 lanes of track on the concourse level of the stadium covered, giving athletes a sheltered 500 metres for running during the winter months as well. There are multifunctional throws areas, gyms. I think there's even a hairdresser's under there as well.
There is. I've seen a promotional video and it actually makes me want to be younger and to go to college there. It's crazy, but especially that 500 metres, that loop around the stadium covered in the winter, that is just any endurance runner's dream. Absolutely great. And, you know, just going back to that tower, you know, it's so magnificent to see it. And I saw a lovely video of Raven Rogers. She knew that she was going to feature on the tower, but I saw a video of her the first time she actually saw herself, and she walked up to it with all her family and she could see herself from a distance. It was just one of those videos that just brings a tear to your eye. So everything has been thought about, all the athletes' needs, and obviously celebrating those 5 icons of Oregon as well.
Yeah, it is great to have, that's for sure. I know Raven Rogers has been getting a bit of friendly banter, I think, from some of her fellow athletes, that she was the one chosen for the grandeur of having her face on the tower. Looking to improve, of course, on her silver medal in Doha. She chased home Uganda's Halima Nakai in the 800 metres ahead of her teammate RJ Wilson, who went into that as the favourite, of course. As we see the brief but certainly talented lineup for the men's triple jump. Christian Taylor, well, fantastic to have him again headlining this field. Multiple world and Olympic champion. He's won, well, 2019 Worlds, the 2017 Worlds, the 2015 Worlds, and the last 2 Olympics as well. And he is opening his season with 3 opponents, as we saw: Donald Scott, Clive Pullen, and Daryl Jones. Nathan Douglas of Great Britain was on the start list for this, but wasn't there in that brief lineup that we saw. Certainly Nathan Douglas is, I'm going to say in friendly terms, in the twilight of his career. Jenny, is that fair? 38?
Well, I would say so. I mean, well, gosh, I retired at 35 and I thought I was the only one still from my age group going. So to do an event like the triple jump as well, you know, it's so hard on all your joints. Good on him for still being able to do that. I can just about touch my toes.
And I could touch my toes. I think about 5 years ago was the last time I successfully managed to do that without bending my knees. You're live with us, Hayward Field, Eugene, Oregon, the University of Oregon. Stop 1 on the 2021 World Athletics Continental Tour Gold as we start to see the athletes for the women's 100 metres final. And that lady there was the fastest qualifier, Blessing Okagbare of Nigeria, who came through earlier on at a time of 11.01 to take that title, or take the tag, if you like, of fastest qualifier. The surprise name, I guess, that hasn't made the top 9 is Brianna Williams of Jamaica, but that lady needs pretty much no introduction, does she? Alison Felix, 200 and 400 is her distance, 100 less so, but here she is, the 12 times world champion, Olympic Games gold medalist on 1 occasion, silver medalist on 3 occasions, a PB of 10.89, which goes back to the London 2012 Olympics. And what an amazing coup, I guess, to have Alison Felix, and for her to qualify for the final and in some strong competition as well is certainly no mean feat, because no mean feat, I should say, as we see Moalake Akinosun of the USA, a relay world champion from London 2017, a world bronze medalist as well in Doha. She goes in lane 8. She qualified in 11.21. Daryl Nita, she won't be too amused that they've misspelt her name on her bib there, but the British athlete who's been out training in America for quite some time. Did you run into her in your trip out, Jen?
I didn't. She's probably the only one I didn't run into. But no, great that she's out here and taking full advantage of the nice weather that they've got in the States at the moment.
Jenna Prandini, Kemba Nelson, sorry, goes in lane 6, who was one of the impressive athletes, and you can hear with the Oregon Ducks logo across her vest that she's got plenty of local support. 11.08 in the heats, which was the fastest time she's ever run, but it was helped by a 2.4 meters per second tailwind to push her over the line. One of the heats had a 2.4 tailwind, the other one 0.6, so different conditions there. As we see Blessing Okagbare, 11.01. Blessing Okagbare is also due to be going to the World Relays next week with Nigeria and Poland. Tiana Daniels, the US champion from the last time the outdoors were staged in 2019, made the final in Doha, where she finished 7th, PB of 10.99. Tiana Daniels, she qualified in 11.18. There's Jenna Prandini, lane 3, Olympic and World semi-finalist. She's got an NCAA championship title to her name. In fact, she's got 2 in the 100 and the long jump. She goes in lane 3. On her inside, the Olympic long jump champion, Tiana Bartoletta, who I'm sure will be very impressed with her early season speed. Her World Championship titles in the long jump, 10 years apart, 2005 and 2015. Most impressively over 100, she was 4th in the London 2012 Olympics. She qualified in 11.24. And on the inside, Christania Williams, who snuck through in the last of the time qualifier places with that 11.28 you can see listed as her season's best. Christania Williams of Jamaica makes up the field. 9 ladies then in the final of the women's 100 metres. They've already had a little look at the track earlier on in their semi-finals. Okagbare, certainly the form that she showed in that semi makes her the favourite. But Kemba Nelson for the home team, University of Oregon from Jamaica, with the fastest time she's ever run in the semi, is going to try and lay it down to Okagbare here. Keep an eye on Tiana Daniels, the US champion as well, who goes in lane 4. Oh, Okagbare got stuck in the blocks there. That was an untidy start, and in the end, Daryl Nita of Great Britain didn't even leave the blocks. There was a little bit of a wobble by Okagbare. She pretty much missed the start. As you can see, Daryl Nita didn't even move. Did you see anything then, Jen? Let's have a little look at this. As there's a bit of movement all around there. A couple of hairs blowing in the wind. Okagbare rocked. I think Nelson just outside her rocked ever so slightly.
Oh, I'm glad they called that one back, and I hope it's just a green card. I hope it's something of nothing, because we really want to see this final, don't we? Some amazing women, but we're focusing on Jenny Prandini. Jenny Prandini, why is that?
If she keeps her head down, then maybe they won't notice. She keeps looking at the floor. It's certainly the camera director of the host broadcast. She couldn't look more guilty if she tried, could she, Jenna Prandini?
That's it. I think they all need. Oh no, we're going.
It's gone as an unsatisfactory start. Yeah, so no one at fault there. And it certainly was untidy, wasn't it? There were people rocking, and I don't think anybody specifically was at fault there. But Daryl Nita expended absolutely no energy at all, didn't leave the line. So Williams on the inside for Jamaica, Bartoletta in 2, Prandini 3, Daniels 4, Okagbare, Nelson, Nita, Akinosun, and Felix closest to the camera in 9. No problem this time. Okagbare a little bit slow away. Akinosun on the near side in lane 8 got a good one. Okagbare though starting to come through now. Akinosun nearest the camera, just about Okagbare, and she will take it 11 seconds flat for Blessing Okagbare. Excellent run from her, coming strong in the second half of the race. In fact, it's rounded down to 10.97 officially in the end for Blessing Okagbare from Akinosun 11.09, and Daryl Nita took third in 11.18.
And a legal time as well. It's 1.2 meters per second wind, so sub 11 seconds. She's happy with that. I think as an athlete, you never want to be on the wrong end of a time. You never want to be a 0. You'd rather be just underneath. So 10.97. It sounds a lot faster, doesn't it, than 11.01.
Well, let's have a look at the race. It was a great start out in lane 8 on that occasion from Akinosun, but Blessing Okagbare really in the second 50 got moving.
Yeah, you can just see here, after about 30 metres, she starts to pick up. She's actually the tallest in this field, so maybe it takes her a little bit longer to get going. But, you know, again, she was going through the line with plenty of momentum there. And if you actually look at the technique that she uses, she's just really holding her breath, and she waits all the way to the line to blow out that breath that she inhales at the beginning. Season's best, 10.97. Great start to the season.
Looking to take that form, as we say, into the World Relays in Silesia next weekend. Competition on Saturday and Sunday night in Poland next week, local time. 10:97 for the 32-year-old Okudbare, who, again, you have to be kind and say that with the Olympics coming up this year at the age of 32, you never quite know how many more chances you'll get by the next time, which is 35. Can she maintain that form? This is the men's triple. Clive Pullen in round number 2, opening up with 16.15. Christian Taylor opened up with 16.52, by the way. Donald Scott 16.62. Round 2 for Pullen. It's around about 16.5 metres. You can see the American distances to the fore there in terms of the larger numbers, but if you've got really good eyes, you can just about see the 16 and the 17 in small white prints on the bottom of that measuring board alongside the pit. Left them a pretty small window to jump in there, haven't they? It's about a metre long, that measuring board. 16.55, so a significant improvement for Clive Pullen in round 2. His lifetime best is 16.90. That goes back a few years. He's opened with a 16.16 a couple of weeks ago in Knoxville, Tennessee. The Jamaican athlete who studies at the University of Arkansas. 3 times a Jamaican champion, Pullen. Next up will be Daryl Jones, who fouled in round 1. Pretty tight, as you can see, just 10 centimetres separating the top 3 in this competition with just 4 athletes in. Here goes Jones. Just on the lower end of the board, he won't be happy with that. That's around about 15 and a bit metres. In fact, it's going to be a foul for Daryl Jones. That's 2 fouls for the athlete from Monroe, based at Liberty University. Lifetime best of 16 metres and 19, so he would need plenty of improvement to get involved in this. So we see a replay of Daryl Jones' foul. Just a reminder, if you're joining the conversation maybe on social media, the hashtag is Continental Tour Gold. Follow at World Athletics on social media as well. Congratulations to the World Athletics team who went through 1 million followers on Instagram, I think, over the course of the last 24 hours. If you're not following them yet on Insta, you should be doing it, that's for sure. Donald Scott then, round 2, 16 metres and 62, current leader. Oh, that looks a bit better for Donald Scott. If he gets the white flag, well, you can see the upper end of that measuring board is around about 16.70, somewhere around about there. So that looks like that might be an improvement with the naked eye.
Yeah, great athlete, Donald Scott. He's always in the shadows, though, isn't he, of Christian Taylor and Will Clay. You know, he's a World Championship finalist in his own right, 3 times national indoor champion as well, and he's actually ranked 5th on the World Athletics ranking points. But that is obviously behind his 2 fellow countrymen, Taylor and Clay. But yeah, that's an improvement.
16 metres and 75 for Donald Scott. The Olympic standard, by the way, is 17 metres and 14. Christian Taylor's got the tights on. Maybe a little bit cooler than he would like. He's only in round 2, so maybe by the time we get toward the climax of the competition, the multiple world and Olympic champion will be down to full shorts. Wants the applause of the crowd, and this is something the athletes have missed from behind closed doors as well, isn't it? We've got enough here to make it worthwhile at Hayward Field. Christian Taylor, 16.52 in round 1. Heading out again somewhere in that similar region by the look of it. 52 feet for those of you who like to do your measuring in feet and inches. Goodness me, Noah Lyles. Wow, that's a costume, Jenny.
It is. I think you've got to be a great athlete, haven't you, to stand out and wear a costume, as you put it, like that. But, you know, he's a very confident guy. I was talking to him just earlier this week, actually. He was working hard. He came off a race in Gainesville. He was working hard on the track and then coming straight up to the gym. And yeah, I think a lot of the American athletes were really anxious to get out here to see what the new stadium feels like. Of course, they've got the US Olympic trials there in 2 months' time. So all of these guys will be looking to get a feel of the track.
Trayvon Gillespie out in lane number 9 for this men's final. Remember, they come through a heat earlier on. Mike Rogers is 36 today. 3 times a world relay medalist. Busy in Europe in the indoor season a couple of months ago, looking to make another Olympics after representing US in Rio. Ran a couple of low 10 seconds in Florida this month, but 10:34 last time out, 10:42 in qualifying today for Mike Rogers. Cameron Burrell, the surname is familiar, that is for sure. He is the son of the former 2-time world record holder, Leroy, who's also his coach. 2018 NCAA champion, Cameron Burrell. Noah Lyles in lane 6. The world champion over 200 meters in Doha. Ranked the number 2 male athlete in the world rankings across all disciplines in the World Athletics rankings. Ran a couple of windy 993s last season. Only raced 7 times in the Bridge 2020. He's planning the double in Tokyo. Only ran the 200, of course, in Doha, but he is planning to take on the double in the Olympics in Tokyo. Trayvon Bramale has had such injury problems, isn't he? But ran the 2nd fastest time last year, 9:90, since the Rio 2016 final. He's had all sorts of problems. But a world indoor champion in Portland, Oregon in 2016, coached by Raina Ryder in Florida, and he set the tone with 10:01 in the heat earlier on. Emmanuel Matadi, he ran 10:21 earlier on today, the Liberian national record holder. Twice a World Championship semi-final. Went through his university at Minnesota State. Jalen Bacon, a 9:97 runner at his best from 2018. Ran in a pretty handy 4x1 relay team at the London 2017 World Championships. Only took silver behind Great Britain. Rogers, Gatlin and Coleman were his teammates. Divine Odeduru of Nigeria, 9:86 his best. Did the NCAA sprint double in 2019 for Texas Tech. World semi-finalist in Doha. He'll be at the World Relays next week, or is due to be, for Nigeria. And completing the lineup on the inside is Chris Belcher of the USA, also 2-time World Championship representative. Set his PB on this track, or the old version of this track anyway. His 9:93 best came back in 2017. The men's 100 meters final then. Noah Lyles, you certainly can't miss him. We know he likes his fashion and likes to be individual. Fascinating to see him up against Trayvon Bramale on his inside. Bramale, the fastest qualifier, certainly on the rise. Lyles over the 100 meter distance then. We know he dominates at 200. How about at the half distance? All eyes on him in lane 6. Drawn right next to Bramale on his inside, and Cameron Burrell on the outside of those two as well. The men's 100 meters final at the USATF Grand Prix at Oregon Relays. No problems with the start, and Bramale got an absolute flyer, and he's left Noah Lyles behind in the first 50 metres. Trayvon Bramale has a metre or two. Mike Rogers going well on the outside. Lyles started to come through now, but Trayvon Bramale, 10:03 unofficially. Well, he got the flyer of the start, and they didn't get near him after that. Trayvon Bramale celebrates with Noah Lyles, 10:01, equaling his best that he produced in the heat earlier on, and it was all his from the gun pretty much, Jenny.
Yeah, that's where the race was won and Lyles's race was lost, unfortunately, for Lyles, of course. I actually was quite impressed with Lyles, how he actually managed to come through for 2nd place. It shows he's got the strength, but here we go. We can see these athletes are drawn side by side in lane 5 and 6, and you can see he gets half a metre from the start, does Bramale. Just having a look again, so we're looking in lane 5 in the white. And there he goes, right from the gun. You saw the smoke, and he was away. He wasn't waiting for anyone. Really, really quick, the first 50 or 60 metres, and you can actually just see that his shoulders are tensing a little bit as he does come up to the line. A real powerhouse in comparison to Noah Lyles, who's a little bit more floaty, a little bit more majestic, but Bramale's technique gets him there.
Boy, talk about powerhouses. Jalen Bacon on the inside is an absolute unit, isn't he? What a physical specimen he is. When you saw the 3 side by side there, Lyles on the left was probably the most slight of those 3. But it was Bramale who took it, 10:01. Noah Lyles, an improvement anyway by a 1/10 of a second. And as you say, finishing the race strongly after a lackluster start. Matadi, 10:19. And Mike Rogers ran well for a long way on his birthday, 10:24. Cameron Burrell, probably the disappointment of that final, 10:52, down in 9th place of the 9. Christian Taylor in the triple, still has the tights on. This is round number 3. 16.50 his second round was no improvement. Still Donald Scott out in front with 16.75. Again, with the glare on the pit there, it's actually hard to see where that mark is, isn't it? But it's around about the 16.50 mark again, I think.
Yeah, he's just looking to the stands. He'll be looking to get some advice there from his coach. I read a quote actually where he said he's, you know, a little bit sad about the renovations at Haywood Field, but at the same time really excited. He currently has their stadium records, so I'm just wondering, do those records get erased, or do they start again, or do they continue? I've no idea.
Oh, I think they'd have to stay, wouldn't they? It's the same venue. I know it's a different track and everything about it's different, but it's got such history, Haywood Field, that you'd imagine surely that the records have to stay. There's such a debate going on at the moment about the history books, if you like, which we won't get into, Jenny. But it's yeah, I think in that situation, Christian Taylor will be able to hang on to it for a little while. Interestingly, he's going for his 3rd Olympic title, of course, in a row in Tokyo. He'll be 31 by the Olympics, so he'll be 34 at the next Olympics. Only 4 men in history have won 4 Olympic golds in a row. Christian Taylor is a dominant force in triple jump. Al Oerter in the 50s and 60s in the discus was one of them. Carl Lewis in the long jump, 84 to 96, won 4 Olympics in a row. Michael Phelps in the swimming pool completed that in Rio as well. So Christian Taylor, it's not beyond the realms of possibility, is it? He is such a dominant force. With Will Clay, obviously, the perennial silver medalist at major championships, but he might have something to say about it. But if Christian Taylor can stay fit, he must have a shout of that, Jen.
Well, I tell you what, Chris, you've been spending your time off going through all these statistics. I bet you couldn't wait to get that one out. And actually, I'm surprised that it's actually in Olympic history. I thought you were just talking about athletics and in track and field.
No.
But no, we're all behind him. Of course, we want another athlete to get out there and get that 4th in a row. So, yes, new statistic. I'll be using that one. And
Write that one down.
Yeah, I hope he can do it.
I don't want to hear that one at the next Grand Prix, by the way, which, of course, this Continental Tour is... the Continental Tour Gold is ramping up as we go through May, a couple of weeks' time. It's a double header, actually, on the same day as far as the athletes in the calendar are concerned. We're in Tokyo and Boston on the 9th of May. That's the next stop on the Continental Tour Gold. But starting in a fitting place, as we say, the venue for the 2022 World Athletics Championships, Haywood Field at the University of Oregon. As you can see right there. The other thing we haven't mentioned, Jen, is this is now, of course, a 9-lane track. It was a previously 8-lane track, so there's that, as well as the lane 10, they call it, which is a recreational lane for people to run outside the concourse as well.
It's just an abundance of riches, isn't it? I think it's the only venue that's ever been tailor-made, you know, purposely for the sport. I think so many times, you know, athletics, track and field, they've got to share it with, you know, the facilities with other sports, but this has just been, you know, if anyone hasn't seen it, just, you know, go online, try to find the footage of this facility. They've got underwater treadmills. I mean, Chris, you've already mentioned the hairdressers. I just don't think I can even beat that. But you can imagine, you know, every single discipline, you know, the hammer, the discus, the javelin, everything can be practiced indoors, even during winter. So no excuse for any of the athletes who are based out there. I'm
not going if they've got a tuck shop. Here's Daryl Jones of the US in round 4 of the triple jump, 14.21. He did get on the board. That one might be better. That looks around about 15 metres for Daryl Jones, who, as we say, is in 4th position. Christian Taylor, by the way, is a foul for him in round 3 while we were chatting on about the Haywood Field construction. I've got so many facts about Haywood Field, Jen. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get them all out. If I don't get them out today, I'm not going to get them out, though. So we're not coming back to Haywood Field on this tour anyway.
Go on, we'll give you time. We'll give you time. Yeah. But an athlete, Daryl Jones, you know, how amazing is it for him to be competing against Christian Taylor here? I'm sure he's, you know, watching his preparation, trying to get some tips. Absolutely great. And I'm sure Christian Taylor is talking to him as well to give him some advice. So love seeing that. Another chance for developing athletes to, you know, take this centre stage. We're now seeing the men's college 800 metres.
Yeah, Luis Peralta there for the University of Oregon. He'll be drawn in lane 5. James Bottrell goes on the inside for Portland State. Jacob Grimwas in lane 2. Brandon McGaughty in 3. Matt Visner in 4. Luis Peralta is in 5. Just catching the top of James West, running for Oregon in lane 6. Elliot Cook for Oregon in 7. Jonathan Horton for Colorado in 8. And right on the outside, Josh Ramos of Colorado. As they set off, Josh Ramos, the pacemaker for this college men's 800 meters.
Well, pretty even there at the break. Looks like a sensible pace is being set. We're going to see a much faster pace, of course, when we get to the men's 800 metres. 50.5 seconds is the target at the halfway there, so very much looking forward to that one.
And James West, I think, has gone down.
Oh, what a shame. I was looking forward to watching James West. He's a Great Britain athlete. He's been coming through the last few years. Such a shame for him to have gone down there at 200 metres, as we say, but I was trying to catch the clock. Oh, here we go. We can just see what's happened. He's there on the outside, and I think he just gets clipped, actually. He'll be devastated that that's happened. But yeah, back to the race, 53.39 seconds. So we're probably looking at a time around about 1 minute 48, 1 minute 49 if they keep this pace up.
It's Elliot Cook for Oregon out in front, Lewis Peralta in pursuit in second place, and Matt Wisner. It's an Oregon 1-2-3 at the moment, with James West having gone down the back straight. We can see the pacemaker just stepping aside. So Peralta takes over. What a shame for James West, as you say, on the your first time you've run at this, probably in an organised meeting. James West, in fact, he did run at this meeting, the practice meeting, if you like, a couple of weeks ago. So he has a bit of a sample of this track already. But it's Peralta with Wisner pressuring him, coming down to the home straight. It's going to be tight on the line, this one. Peralta just about hanging on. And he will get there in the end. 1:49.22 unofficially from Matt Wisner in second, and Jonathan Horton comes through for third. 1:49.25, the official winning time for Luis Peralta.
I enjoyed watching that race. It was really economic splits, 53.8 followed by a 55.4. You're seeing a lot of the women's races, a lot of the women tend to go off a lot faster. The first half of the race is a lot quicker in the second half, but that was a really nice economic race. Not actually too aware of what those athletes' personal bests are, so can't really give much information on that, but yeah, great race, great competitive race, took all the way to the line by the two Oregon athletes there.
Well, Luis Peralta, who's from the Dominican Republic, 21 years of age. His personal best outdoors was set on this track in that meeting a couple of weeks ago. As we say, there was I don't say practice meeting, because that's to devalue the efforts of the athletes who took part, but almost a bit of a sighter. The first time the stadium was used for organised competition, but today is the first time that professional athletes have used the new Hayward Field, and great to see some of the college events as well, some of which took place before the main Grand Prix got underway, but some of which are interspersed as well. So 1:49 for Luis Peralta, a couple of seconds outside what he produced actually in that meeting earlier on in the month. James West, as you say, a bit of a shame for him, but he certainly will come again, one of the up-and-coming British talents. And I'm sure a lot of people were tuning in from Great Britain to watch James West run, and you didn't get much change out of that. You got about 55 seconds, I think. That was about it. So back we go to the triple. This is Daryl Jones in round number 5. Donald Scott improving, by the way, in round 4 to 16.89 out of the lead. Nope, running through Jones, so that's going to be 4 fouls out of his first 5. So at the moment, not what he would have hoped for. His best, as I say, 16 metres and 19 from a couple of years ago. Still to come on the track, by the way, we have the men's 3,000 metre steeplechase, which is due off at 3:04 local time. The women's 800 metres final featuring Raven Rogers and Gemma Reiki. The men's 800 metres final as well. The 100 metres hurdles final, which will feature Sydney McLaughlin in an unfamiliar event. The men's 1,500 metre final, Brazier against Hopple. And the 400 metres final, Norman against Benjamin, amongst others. Also a couple of great field events to come. The women's hammer, which is due off, in fact, should have got underway. We'll catch up with that shortly. And the women's shot put as well, which should be cracking with a great depth of US talent in that as well. But Christian Taylor is in round 5 of the men's triple. Consistent series so far, 16.52, 16.50 and 16.45 for the world and Olympic champion. The tights are off. Bit of strapping on that right ankle, as you can see there. What's he got in 5? Nope. Just has that strange sort of arm movement, doesn't he, Christian Taylor? That trademark. It's almost like he's leaping a little bit exuberantly with his arm just before the board. It's a little quirk.
It is a little quirk, but it's one of those things, I guess, like Michael Johnson, you know, you don't want to change it. It works for him, you know, 4 times world champion, twice Olympic champion, and I thought he was going to pull a big one out there. It was definitely, you know, we could see that he's took his tights off, he's not in the lead, he's like, okay, it's time for me to show up now, but yeah, just a few adjustments he needs to make still.
Well, someone of Christian Taylor's ability and pedigree and CV is a scout for anybody at any time of the year in any meeting. So for Clive Pullen and for Donald Scott here, they'll be thinking, hang on a second, if we can just maybe pull out one more big one and put ourselves out of Christian Taylor's reach. Clive Pullen in second with his second round jump of 16.55. Just chopped his stride at the end there, and you could see as he approached the board that it was all unravelling for him. So just going a little bit too much at it there, Clive Pullen, and lost his run.
I actually think it's really nice for any young athletes who are watching this. You know, a lot of athletes at the moment, because of COVID, have just been saying, you know, they're not quite feeling the rhythm, they found it really found it very hard to keep motivated. Even the professional athletes struggle on some days. So, you know, sometimes I think when you watch world-class athletics, sometimes people just seem so unattainable, some of the performances. But here we are, this is real world-class athletics and beginning of the season, and people are still having to find the feet.
Well, Donald Scott, by the way, 16 metres and 89 as it stands. This is going into the final round. The Olympic standard is 17 metres and 14 in the men's triple jump. Now, I'm just checking via the superb Road to Tokyo tool on the World Athletics website. Donald Scott does have the entry standard for the Olympic Games, but so far there are 3 men ahead of him: Will Clay, Christian Taylor and Omar Craddock. Of course, each country can only take 3 athletes. The US trials will be where it's decided. You've got to finish in the top 3, but we'll come back to that, because here are the athletes for the men's steeplechase. Jen, there are 2 athletes with the Olympic standard for the US in this. Hillary Bohr in the frame there is one of those.
Yeah, this again looks like a great lineup. I've been really impressed with the US men in this event. In fact, the last real season we had in 2019, the top 7 of the top 10 US performers are actually in this starting lineup. So lots of head-to-heads to be seen in this one. I've seen some of the competitors here. This is Mason Furlik. He's the NCAA champion back in 2016. He's got a personal best of 8:21.57, which is just inside that Olympic standard if he was to do it this year. So 8:22 is the standard that they need. So we're just looking to see some of the other competitors. It's a strong lineup, like I say. Here we go, we can see the start lineup just in the corner of your screen. Alex Rogers, Mason Furlik, John Gay, Hillary Bohr, Isaac Updike, Anthony Rotich, Bernard Keita, Absa Ali, Franklin Tanui, Michael Jordan, Stanley Keeney, and Harriet Lagat.
Well, Harriet Lagat is due to pace this from the outside, just coming right across with the army vest there. Can't quite get himself to the front at the moment. But as I say, the 2 athletes, they're easily to pick out because they're the only 2 in the white and blue kit. Stanley Kebenai and Hillary Bohr are the 2 with the Olympic standard so far, which, as you say, Jen, stands for the men's steeplechase at 8 minutes and 22 seconds. Again, worth explaining, in Olympic year, it's worth taking the opportunity while we can just to talk about how athletes reach the Olympic Games, Jen. I mean, each country does it slightly differently, but for the US, it's pretty simple. They decide it all as first 3 past the post, don't they, at their trial event. Other countries don't quite often do it the same way. There are entry standards for the Olympic Games, for which you need to reach those standards. And if there are more than 3 athletes, for example, with the standard, then it all comes down to that shootout on trials day. And the US trials has always been slightly famous as being, I guess, slightly cutthroat, as all comes down to that day.
That is the right term to use. And, you know, depending on what sort of form you're in, it can work for you or it can't work for you. So there's been plenty of times I would have loved it to have been top 3. And other times I was really grateful it wasn't, because I wasn't quite in the shape, or I was trying to, you know, struggle with a cold and I've got another 2 weeks to try and achieve the qualification. But I think that's why when you get to a major championships, whoever is wearing the US best, you know they're a fierce competitor. If they can get through their trials, you know they're going to bring it in the championships as well. Really just want to say a big shout out there to Harun Lagat, you know, the athlete who's taking them through the pace here. He's got a personal best some 10 years ago now of 8:15.80, so he's been a great athlete in his own right. He's actually got a half marathon personal best of 61:01 and is a volunteer assistant coach at the Texas Tech University, so very inspirational, I'm sure, for many. And, you know, we've talked about pacemaking a little bit already, but it's very hard to find a pacemaker for the steeplechase. You have to be a steeplechaser. So you can see that he's actually having a word with some of the guys saying, come on, you know, I'm supposed to run a certain pace. You're not running the pace that we're supposed to. Do you want me to do this or not? So interestingly, he's just tucked in actually in the middle of the field.
Well, we had him listed as the pacemaker, but I'm afraid that doesn't look much pace. He was waving them through to say that the style of, is anybody going to share the workload here? I thought he was a bit slow to come across at the front, but he's drifted right back through the field. So it's been taken on instead by Mason Furlik, the former under-23 NCAA champion. As the athletes come over the barriers, Alex Rogers to the 4 as well. Hilary Ball there, the first of the athletes in the whites with the blue. Also Isaac Updike, as you say, right up in 3rd or 4th position there in the navy, or the black, in fact, as he crosses the barrier.
Yeah, it could actually be that we just got your information wrong, Chris, you know, because he's definitely dropped back there. And, you know, the race does actually look like it's actually heating up at the front now. You can always see, you know, a visible sign of when all the athletes are like dominoes, the one behind each other. So, yeah, it's definitely stringing out now.
Well, we talk of the athletes who've dominated this event over the course of the last few major championships. Kenya's consensus Kipruto, Olympic champion in Rio in 2016, world champion in London 2017 and in Doha in 2018, so certainly will be the man to beat. Again, steeple is an event that doesn't really happen, or didn't really happen too much last year, because it's one of those events that it's not as easy just to throw a steeple on as it sometimes in limited facilities. There's a lot of athletes with tracks closed and things last year. You need things like a water jump, which aren't in evidence everywhere.
No, they're not, and you know, some of the equipment is very expensive, obviously, you know, even in an athletics facility, and even just, you know, logistically getting the pit filled up with water, etc. So yeah, when a lot of athletics facilities were closed, obviously no chance to practice your technical abilities. So whenever any opportunities come through, you know, I think that's why a lot of these fields are always pretty stacked. There's not many opportunities to run steeplechase events, and you know, you wouldn't want too many steeplechase events in your legs during the season. So let's hope that these athletes can take full advantage of this opportunity here.
There was a great story. Oh, great is not the right word, probably. If you're Craig Novak, it wasn't a great story, but he's due to be pacing, by the way, the 1,500 metres a little bit later on, Craig Novak. But in terms of his steeplechase, he achieved the Olympic qualifying standard in an event recently, ran a big PB, and then found out, unfortunately, that the event had misplaced the start line, and therefore the course was short, and its Olympic qualifying standard that he thought he had was very quickly taken away. Talk about heartbreak.
Oh, that's a nightmare of a story, Chris. Any idea how short it was?
I think that hadn't been found out. There's no doubt whether it was a couple of metres short or 30 or 40 metres short, but I think the feeling was that Craig Novak was in enough shape that he would run a decent, or certainly close to his PB, if not beat it. So maybe a couple of seconds possibly slower than he might have done. But yeah, I think when you turn up to events and you like to think that everything's in order, but when the big queue, the Olympic queue, is what most people are chasing over the course of the next few months. That is really hard to take, but hopefully he can come back. And as you say, for steeplechase athletes that don't want to get too many events in their legs, when you think you've done it and then you have to come back and reset and start again, that's certainly not ideal.
No, it's not ideal at all. So I'm just looking for a split here at 2,000 metres. It looks like it was around about 5:43. So they're coming in around about 8:30 pace at the moment. So I'm going to say that no Olympic qualification times will be run here today, but a really competitive race, still 5 or 6 there at the front.
Again, that's one of the beauties of this Continental Tour Gold this year, that there are so many opportunities around the world. We're going right across continents for athletes. We'll be heading to Europe after the next round in Tokyo and in Japan. Then it's an opportunity for athletes over in Europe to start to find their way in some of these meetings. Of course, running, I guess, in conjunction with the Diamond League, which will be getting underway in Gateshead in the UK towards the end of May. But Hilary Bohr has taken it up at the front now. He's had close quarters, if you like, from the likes of Mason Furlik, currently in second position, and Isaac Updike in third. Stanley Kebenai is tucked a little bit further back in that group. I think we can tell that Harun Lagat, who's drifted right off the back of the field, maybe he was due to pace, but then it turned out he wasn't quite in that shape. He's right in the back of the shot there, just coming round into the back straight.
Yeah, really interesting to see what happened there, but I think the quality athlete has gone to the front now. Hilary Bohr, he was a national champion in 2019. Well, I've got to say, Furlik's still there. You know, he's done a lot of the work. This is actually turning out to be quite a competitive race with 4, 5 guys still in the running with just over 400 metres to go.
The other two we haven't really mentioned in that shot there are John Gay, currently in 4th position from Canada, and just out of shot is Obsa Ali of the USA. As they hit the bell on this occasion, it's Isaac Updike who decides to take it on and stretch it out for Hilary Bohr here. So needs around about a 60-second last lap. It's asking plenty, it's asking too much surely. Hilary Bohr in pursuit. In 3rd position is Furlik, then Gay in 4th. And then a gap back now to Ali, who's in 5th position, and Stanley Kebenai has been left behind. But Mason Furlik down the back straight, a water jump and a barrier in the home straight, still to negotiate. Remember, Hilary Bohr has the Olympic standard, by the way. We have 9 of the top 10 from the last US Championships involved here. That's except for Andy Bayer, who retired this week, and Hilary Bohr now getting passed in 3rd position by Furlik. But it's a terrific run from Isaac Updike, who comes into the home straight now, and Furlik will try and close him over the final barrier. But Isaac Updike is going to take the victory here. And as we come up towards the line, the clock is ticking. 8:22 is that Olympic standard, you know, Jem. We thought it wasn't on. Isaac Updike clenches the fist. He's got it in 2nd place. Furlik will get it as well in a lifetime best for both of those. That's the fastest time in this fledgling year for Isaac Updike. And there are 2 more to add to the US ranks. Obsar Ali agonisingly outside the standard by 81.81 of a second.
Well, it did heat up towards the end, and now I'm actually questioning myself whether I got the split right or not. But that is an 8-second personal best by Isaac Updike. His personal best dates back to 3 years ago in Belgium, and you know, he really did take the race by the scruff of the neck with 400 metres to go, didn't he? The way he's actually clearing that barrier there, he looks like he's got springs in his legs. He was still had plenty of running in those legs all the way to the finish line, and you see he's turning round and he's digging in deep, and he's running 8 seconds faster than he's ever ran before, which is absolutely fantastic. And to get that qualification so early in the season, I'm going to say that a lot of these US guys are going to end up with that qualification, but that's going to make those trials as interesting as it ever has, but some huge personal best there.
Well, if you want to know about the speed and I guess the bounciness of the Eugene, Oregon track over those barriers, it was a terrific last lap, wasn't it? The way they were sort of tracking Hilary Bohr, I mean, they looked comfortable, but you didn't see them putting on quite the acceleration in the second, the last 400 metres, but it was a terrific run in the end from Isaac Updike. World lead, personal best, Olympic standard, 8:17.74. Mason Furlik with a PB of 8:18 goes under the standard as well. And look at that Obsa Ali, you just caught it there, 8:22.81. The standard was 8:22. He gave it everything down the final straight, but didn't quite have enough. This is the women's shot, our first look at that. Sarah Mitten of Canada in round number 3. Chase Ely is out in front at the moment with 18 metres and 93. First sight of an athlete competing in a mask today. Of course, as we mentioned earlier on, the current COVID restrictions in Lane County, Eugene, Oregon, unfortunately mean that athletes having to wear masks at all times apart from when they are competing. Sarah Mitten is that mark measured. We talked about the depth in that US steeplechase list. That is going to be, so there's already 4 athletes now that have got the standard, so only 3 of them can go to the Olympics. It will be back at Hayward Field to decide that one. in the US trials in June. Here's Jessica Woodard of the USA in round 3. Sure. I wondered what happened there. She decided not to let it go. Jessica Woodard, 17:49, her best so far. Bit of an old school sort of cinder pit, isn't it? The shot put landing area. If that's a foul for Jessica Woodard, she must have fallen out in front, out of shot. Danielle Thomas-Dodd in the women's shot, the world silver medalist, currently in 2nd position with 18 meters and 46. This is Jessica Ramsey though. 18 meters 40 in round 1 for the Pan American Games bronze medalist from last year. Currently sits 9th in the world rankings. That one has slipped and gone badly wrong. Drop in the world rankings there as well, Jen. I mentioned earlier on the Road to Tokyo tool on the World Athletics website. It's a brilliant tool that the stats guys have come up with, which basically shows you at the click of a couple of buttons on the stat zone on the World Athletics website exactly who has qualified for the Olympics so far from each country in each event. So it's a great way for those of you who follow the sport really closely. At a click of a button, just head to the Road to Tokyo part of the stat zone on the World Athletics website. It's in the same section as all the top lists and the world records and everything else, and that will give you an amazingly quick version as to where everybody is in the rankings, as that one is launched out by the event leader Chase Ely, and that is getting close to the 19-meter line. Looks pretty pleased. World Championship finalist. Mask straight back on.
Well, if anyone actually looks at that women's top list, quite a lot of the competitors in this field are in that top 20 or so. So unfortunately, the US can only take 3 to that championships. You know, they always have so much strength in depth. But, you know, we've got Canadians who are capable of it, Jamaican athlete Danielle Thomas-Dodd, of course, as well. We've got Brittany Crew from Canada. Got an abundance of riches in this women's shot competition. 11 athletes, and I'm just counting down my list. Out of the 11, 5 of them have already achieved the Olympic qualification this year, and it's still only April.
Danielle Thomas-Dodd. I thought she was giving herself a pep talk, but she's giving a couple of officials a pep talk by the look of it. She's got some of the Noah Lyles prints going on with her outfit there. Just seen a couple of hoods up from officials. Jen, looks like there may be a little bit of rain started to fall, but as we focus in on Raven Rogers in real life rather than with her face painted on the tower at Hayward Field, one of the heroines of the University of Oregon, the World Championship silver medalist. I'm sure plenty of expectation will be on her by the time we get to the US trials in June. Gemma Reekie of Great Britain will go in lane 7 over her stronger distance. The training partner of Laura Muir, who we saw run just outside of 4-minute earlier on in the women's 1500 metres. Shifa Clerig-Butner of Ireland as well. Didn't go so well for her at the European indoors, but I know we're broadcasting across Ireland as well, so I'm sure Shifa will have plenty of support tuning in to see how she goes, the US-based athlete.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing this one. Again, one of those races with abundance of riches, and we can just see, if you just look in your screen there, you can just see a little bit of rain just started. We can see it on Raven Rogers' shoulder. Great to see Melissa Bishop back. She had a child back in 2018. Of course, she was a silver medalist at the World Championships back in 2015 in Beijing. She was a finalist. She was 4th in Rio Olympic Games. Decided to stop her career for a season to have a child. Really great to see her back at this top level competition, and I know she'll be keen to try to gain that automatic Olympic qualification so she can wear that Canadian Olympic vest for the 3rd time.
So the field then, Sammy Watson of the USA right on the inside, Bishop out of 2, Baker and Butler sharing 3, Grace out of 4, Chambers out of 5, Brown and Tracy sharing 6, Reekie 7, Rogers 8, and Ephraimson due to pace it in 57 through 400 metres, right on the outside in lane 9.
Yeah, I think we can tell the intentions of this women. 57.0, they've asked for 400 metres. and the pacemaker's trying to go all the way to 500 metres. I know when I always try to run that sort of time at this time of the season, my legs just weren't quite ready to do it, you know, a little bit race rusty, but through 200 metres in around about 28 seconds, and we can actually see that the rain is coming down now, and I think all of the women have decided not to go with this pace. The conditions are, like I say, a little bit rainy now, maybe a little bit cold as well. It was very ambitious. The pack seemed to have gone through 300 metres in around about 45 seconds, so that's about 2 minutes flat pace. But let's see, an 800 metres can be run a lot of different ways, and yeah, we can see the pacemaker 59.33, and the field are going to go through in around about 61 seconds. So they're not going after times here, it's all about placings.
Gemma Reekie leading that cluster at the moment. She's right on the inside. If they start to make a move, she needs to make sure she keeps herself out of trouble. Raven Rogers right on her shoulder at the minute. Adele Tracy tucked on the inside in the black as well for Great Britain. Also making a move around the outside, Kendra Chambers. And Melissa Bishop going pretty well as well. But it's still Reekie keeping an eye on Raven Rogers out of the corner of their eye as they start to stack up on the outside of Gemma Reekie. Melissa Bishop widest of the three, just a bit of elbowing and bumping with Raven Rogers, but it's still Reekie. Now Rogers challenges.
Yeah, and this is really coming down to those strength-based athletes towards the end of the race, and Gemma Reekie is one of those strength-based athletes. Raven Rogers there on her shoulder. Remember that famous last 100 metres in Doha World Championships, where she came all the way from 7th to 2nd. But here we see Adele Tracy on the inside there from Great Britain. She's been doing some strength work on 1,500 metres, and she's challenging Gemma Reekie all the way to the line. And it's going to be a British 1-2. And I'm not actually sure who got that. Adele was travelling really quickly on the outside there.
Adele Tracy's been given it right on the line by 100th of a second. 2:03.25 from Gemma Reekie ahead of Raven Rogers. Well, Adele Tracy, that will be a great scout for her, I'm sure. Gemma Reekie, well, she certainly went for home, but you can see gritting her teeth. Adele Tracy, just about by the width of her bib nearly, got there.
You know, sometimes you've just got to rip up the script, haven't you? We wanted Raven Rogers to obviously run well. It's at home track. She's got a face on the tower, and she's hoping that she's going to create some iconic moments at this stadium over the next few years. Gemma Reekie, like Laura Muir, has been training really hard. I thought Gemma actually, you know, may have won that race, but Adele Tracy, she's been training well. It's Olympic year. Anything can happen. I'm going to say that's the biggest win of her career so far.
Well, the interesting thing there as well was Adele Tracy, she was hugging the inside curve, wasn't she? She actually had to take a bit of a scenic route around the outside to get around Reekie. She was banking, I think, on maybe a gap opening up on the inside, but it never came. And actually, she probably, in the end, it was a bit closer than she would have liked, having had to take that route round Reekie.
Yeah, I think the pressure was just off her. I think, you know, all the big names were the ones that we were focusing on, and, you know, it just shows what can happen at Olympic trials. So the thing that Adele has to concentrate on, of course, is trying to get that 1:59.50, which she's never achieved so far in her career. She has broken 2 minutes a couple of times, but it's been 1:59.8. But anything can happen at a trial, so get that qualification time and then race the race, and that's what it's about at the end of the day, and that was a great race.
Certainly was. Raven Rogers finishing in third. Melissa Bishop was 2:04 in fourth ahead of Baker Grayson. Schiffer, Clearing, Butner, 2:07.04 down in ninth position. As you can see on the screen, there was a little weather caption a moment ago that said possible drizzle. I think we can confirm the drizzle. Looking at this with the shot putters having to bring out their own towels en masse. That shot put, the brand new shot put area is obviously not particularly suited by rain by the look of it, Jenny.
Well, they're very prepared, aren't they, the shot putters? They've obviously got the towels in the bag just in case of a scenario like this. So good job that they have. And yeah, it was a collective of towels there, wasn't it? Everyone was throwing the towel into the ring, literally, into the circle.
Love it. I love what you've done there. That's the voice of Jenny Meadows, the 6 times major championship medalist over 800 metres and the relay 4x4 as well for Great Britain, alongside myself, Chris Temple, with you here on leg 1 of the Continental Tour Gold, live from that place, spectacular Hayward Field at the University of Oregon, where the weather's not quite playing ball today, certainly for those shot putters, but still we have some fascinating track action to come, as well as the conclusion of the field events. Men's 800 metres final is due next. The women's 100 metres hurdles will come after that. Donald Scott, we're back with the men's triple. Donald Scott in round 4. And And that looks good. If that's a white flag, that looks like that might be his best so far. And in fact, 16.89 it comes up with the measurement. So that is a replay from earlier on, 16.89 for Donald Scott in round 4. Well, we've got a conference going on here, Jen. The shot putters, I don't think are happy with the conditions of that circle. I think that's pretty obvious, isn't it?
Yes, I think they're definitely having a bit of a decision what to do, whether to actually wait it out, to see whether the weather improves. I think a few of the women will be quite frustrated when you obviously come to an event like this, but that was a weather forecast. It happens, doesn't it? So whether they've just decided to take a break for a short period or they're going to continue, I guess we'll just have to play it by ear and see.
I think they're also judging the throwing order now as well with that competition halfway through. They've had 3 puts each, so as well as the, I thought it was a meeting about the weather, but as once they've put their emergency towels down, it looks like a meeting about the throwing order for the second half of the race. As in major championships, the field is normally reversed with the leader throwing last for the final 3 rounds. So we'll keep you up to date. The current leader is Chase Ely with 18 metres and 93, which is a Olympic standard, but many of the athletes in that women's shot put already have that Olympic standard. Chase Ely has thrown it again today.
Just looking at the image that we're getting, actually, it does actually look like the rain has subsided. So it did look like it was worse, the worst conditions of the day for that women's 800 metres. I guess when we see a close-up of the men, we'll get to know. But no, it doesn't seem like it's coming down too much. So hopefully that was it. I know there was just a chance of rain. They thought we would actually miss it, and if at any point it was going to come at the end of the meeting. But yeah, I think it's definitely subsided for now.
Chase Ely, by the way, is one of 8 US athletes in the field that has, sorry, one of 8 US athletes who have the Olympic qualifier already in the women's shot. That shows you the depth, that we're only in April. Here's the men's 800 metres, though, as we focus in on Isaiah Harris, the NCAA champion from a couple of years ago. 144 runner. He will go out of lane 8 in this one. Charlie Hunter of Australia, the University of Oregon-based student as well, will be keen to improve his mark. It's Michael Saruni of Kenya, opting with the long sleeves. He's a 143 athlete from a couple of years ago as well. Holds the indoor record in the 600 metres. Right on the inside, Luca Chatham of the USA. Sam Ellison goes in 3. Great Britain's Guy Learmonth looking to make his first Olympic Games. He's in lane 4. He's been training out of the US. Sawinski, Eric Sawinski, world indoor bronze medalist. He goes in lane 5 from a couple of editions back. Saruni out of 6, Hunter in 7, Isaiah Harris in 8, and Miles Marshall right on the outside in lane 9. And Luca Chatham, it's fair to say, Jen, out of lane 2, is he's tearing out.
Yeah, looking at this, I think the pacemaker is actually in lane 1.
Oh, he is, sorry.
It was, yeah, it was a late addition, Will Munday, but I think he could just do with having a bit of a glance. Maybe he needs a stopwatch in his hand, like Lawrence Cote had. But yeah, they've asked for a very ambitious 50.5, very like the women's equivalent, 57 dead. No one seemed to go with that, but he was obviously trying to do the best job he can and get them there in this time, but he's now, you know, used some real common sense and realised they weren't coming with him, so he's slowed the pace down, but he looks like he's actually going to go through almost bang on target there. You can actually see that he dipped. It was around about 52 seconds in the end at 400 metres, so just definitely looks like the field just didn't want to go with him. It's a very quick pace for this time of the season.
Well, it's Sam Ellison out front at the moment with Isaiah Harris in pursuit. Michael Saruni is in 3rd position as they make their way down the back straight. Guy Learmonth of Great Britain in around about 5th position at the moment. Wide on the track, running in lane 2 at the moment, is Luca Chatham. Sawinski in 4th, but it's still down the back straight as they come around the final 200 metres. Isaiah Harris now challenging on the outside of Sam Ellison.
Yeah, he looks good, doesn't he? He's saved his best till the final stretch, and that's when the race is won at the end of the day. But here we go, we get a big charge now from Saruni in that long sleeve, and he's going to take the win. He's got a 400-metre PB of 45.4 seconds, and he used that in that final stretch. very like the women's race, a really competitive race, not really the kind of times that we would expect. Definitely didn't go with that pacemaker. The time that they said was definitely looking around about 1:44, but 1:46.64, good time to start at this time of the year.
Well, we took the lactic sniper. Jeff Whiteman, one of the best announcers, one of the top announcers in the world, he mentioned it quite a lot. There was a couple of shots fired by the lactic sniper there, weren't there? Sam Ellison, with about 100 to go, got hit by it, and then halfway down the home straight, Isaiah Harris suddenly was absolutely loaded with lactic. Look at him there.
Yeah, you know, unless you've run these events, 400 and 800, it's very, very difficult to explain it. You know, your brain knows what to do, but all of a sudden you're just wading through treacle and there's absolutely nothing you can do. You're just praying that that line will come. But again, it's just a little bit of, you know, race rustiness, just needing a few races under your belt. Give it 2 or 3 more weeks and, you know, instead of getting that lactic at 100 metres, you'll only get it at 50, and then eventually you make it all the way through the line. So yes, not the events to choose 400s and 800s. You've got to put the hard work in for those ones.
I mentioned for a PB there for Charlie Hunter from the Central Coast of Australia, who's University of Oregon based, picking up his PB there, 1:47.2. I'm sure quite a few tuning in from New South Wales. It's around about 8:30 on Sunday morning, I think, in Australia. So welcome to Sunday on the Central Coast. I imagine the weather's a touch better than it is right now at Haywood Field. Well, the shot put circle was damp. We're back underway with the second half of the competition. Rachel Fatherley, currently in 5th position. Athletes have been struggling in round 4, by the way. Only 2 legal throws out of 5 before Rachel Fatherley took hers. And that's a throw for Fatherley. Waiting for the measurements. The officials, as you mentioned earlier, Jen, doing a great job. Again, everybody having to be COVID secure, whatever role people are playing, whether it's athletes, coaches, support staff, or the officials as well, out there at the University of Oregon. Huge fillip for all of them. Fillip to all of them for their work, which is always slightly less pleasurable in those kind of conditions, but everybody fundamentally does it for the love of athletics, don't they? Which is why I'm sure you're watching this, whatever time zone you're in, whatever time of day it is, wherever you are, with us here on the Continental Tour Gold, as we pick up Jessica Ramsey, currently in 3rd position in round 4, with her best of 18:40. She's got to find half a metre, and she won't find it by slipping over and putting sideways, but in all seriousness, a bit of a concern. You don't often see shot putters ending up on their backside, so there's clearly a bit of an issue with the rain in that circle, Jen.
Yeah, I think that competition obviously, you know, started when the rain came down, and you know, you can see that a lot of the competitors there are just, you know, well, you can actually see on the circle now, actually, you can actually see the rain bouncing down, can't you?
Yeah.
So yeah, not ideal conditions whatsoever. So this might just be one of those where they just want to get out of it safely. But yeah, you could see that she actually slid all the way into the rim there, and thankfully she doesn't look like she's hurt herself.
And just as thankfully, that shot put missed the official by about half a metre. Sat on the chair with the clipboard there. He's not expecting a shot to come out 90 degrees sideways, is he? Sat in that seat.
Not by these professional women, definitely not.
No, I mean, it's a bit of an issue, this, isn't it? Because you can't have a facility that, I guess, can't handle rain, because sometimes it does rain. You can't just have one competition that immediately becomes difficult if it starts to rain. So that's something for the organisers there to deal with, and for the officials to try and make it as safe as possible. But certainly, again, at this stage of the season, Jen, here we are in April, there'll be no risks taken by athletes. That was lucky there for Jessica Ramsey that didn't turn out worse, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was lucky, and I think the replay really showed us that, didn't they? But yeah, she'll go away, and I think she'll be having a little think how much more participation she wants to go through this competition.
So, again, no slight on the fantastic facility at Eugene, but it is just something they'll have to deal with today as we pick up Sydney McLaughlin, usually running the hurdles around the track, but today it's in a straight line, as it has been already this winter, for this early part of the summer, I should say, for her. The Olympic silver medalist, the world silver medalist behind Dalila Muhammad in that world record time in Doha, but she's on the straight over 100 metres hurdle. She's already set a PB last weekend, 12:92. She'll have to take on that lady who's in form, Jasmine Camacho Quinn. A lifetime best last weekend in Gainesville, Florida, of 12:32 for Jasmine Camacho Quinn. Puerto Rico is her official designation, but she's born in South Carolina, has a Puerto Rican mum and an American dad. That will give you an idea of the conditions that these athletes will be facing right now. Emily Sloan on the inside, McLaughlin 2, Andrea Vargas of Costa Rica in 3, the Pan American Games champion, Toby Amerson, the Commonwealth champion in 4, Camacho Quinn in 5, Talia Brooks in lane 6, Peyton Chadwick for USA in 7, Brittany Anderson, the World Juniors silver medalist in lane 8 for Jamaica, and the World Juniors silver medalist from 2016, Rochelle Burton of Jamaica, right on the outside in lane 9. Camacho Quinn, though, and Amerson in 4 and 5. The favourites for this one. Keep an eye on McLaughlin out of 2 as well, but it's Camacho Quinn who gets a lightning start. Anderson going well nearest the camera as well, and also Talia Brooks. But Jasmine Camacho Quinn leading them through at this stage and takes the win. 12:45 for Camacho Quinn. Tight on the line in the end between Brittany Anderson and the fast finishing Talia Brooks. Jasmine Camacho Quinn, 12:46, an impressive time outside what she's produced already this year, but she takes the win, and she was the informed athlete.
That was such an impressive and an emphatic win in those conditions. 12:32, I had to look twice when I saw that result, and I thought, really? But what we've just seen there, right from the start, here we go, we're going to get to watch the replay now. We're looking at Jasmine in lane 5 there. Doesn't have the best start, but she's at that first hurdle before anybody else. Really sharp action, isn't she? She's really economic, wastes no height over those hurdles, really sprinting between those 10 barriers, and 12:46 in these conditions. I'm going to say that she can run faster than that 12:32, and that was such a great and, like I say, commanding and an emphatic win against a quality field.
Well, Sydney McLaughlin improves by every effort at this. 12:86 today to finish 4th, which shaves 600ths off the PB she set last weekend. So that's encouraging for her as well, getting a bit of speed work into her legs in the early stages. But to switch from 400 hurdles to 100 hurdles and whack out a couple of PBs, that's encouraging early season form for Sydney McLaughlin.
It is. She went over 60-metre hurdles indoors and didn't have the best of experiences, really. So she's turned it around really, really quickly. And, you know, that's a world-class time at the hurdles, at the sprint hurdles. Yet we know her best distance, obviously, is the 400-metre hurdles. So really mouth-watering prospect what she can do over that event. And, you know, she's already the second fastest in history over the 400-metre hurdles. I'd love her to see, you know, another great contest this year with Mohammed and see what they can push each other to. But wow, I think she's going to really excite over that 400-metre hurdles.
Do you want some context for that time that she's just run, 12:86?
Yes,
the Olympic standard is 12:84. So she's just by 200ths missed the Olympic standard in her reserve event.
In her reserve event,
That's
yeah.
how good a performance that is from Sydney McLaughlin in context.
Yeah, and you know what? Before sprint hurdles, you put the 400 and possibly the 200 before that. So probably her 4th best event.
Certainly so. We've got about just under 20 minutes left of our live broadcast with you here. We're on the World Athletics YouTube channel, as well as broadcasters around the world, as well with myself, Chris Temple, and Jenny Meadows, the multiple major championship 800 metres medalist. As we see the standings in the women's shot put, currently still in progress, but that's how it looks at the moment. Chase Ely 18.93, season's best from Danielle Thomas-Dodd and Jessica Ramsey, the 1-2-3. Michelle Carter, a bit disappointed, I'm sure she'll be with that 16 metres and 94 currently, down in 9th position. And just having a look here, I think they are continuing, aren't they? I wondered if they were wrapping it up there, but they do look like they're continuing. Michelle Carter, of course, for context, is the Olympic champion. That's why I mentioned her, but 35 years of age now, as you can see there on that caption. Michelle Carter, also the national record holder of the US. Valerie Adams, great to see her at 1965 in New Zealand in the winter. She will be, again, one of those who will be contesting by the time we get to Tokyo, I'm sure.
I'm just thinking, Chris, about all the advancements in technology, you know, when we have all the little motorised equipment to go and pick all the implements up, but the shot putters are bringing their own towels. I'm just grateful I'm not washing them.
Yes, they will be a bit of a mess by the end of it. As we say, every single event at the brand newly developed Hayward Field at a cost of about $270 million, there or thereabouts, has its indoor practice facilities. Often you see things like hammer throwers having to throw into some sort of netting and tarpaulin, which they will still have to do. Of course, you can't be launching a hammer 70 or 80 meters indoors in that facility, but still manageable facilities, specialist gyms, underwater treadmills, as we mentioned earlier on. Nice comfortable seats for spectators as well, and we just hope that by the time they get to the US trials in June, there will be an opportunity for some more spectators to be able to attend. But the recent, I guess, increase in the COVID risk in the Lane County area means that that might be difficult, but fingers crossed. And of course, all roads lead to Tokyo 2020 or 2021, whichever one you want to call it. By the time we get there, 90 days from now till the opening ceremony in Tokyo, and really starting to ramp up preparations for athletes who, as we mentioned earlier, in many cases, a lot of them missed 2020 altogether. A lot of them decided to take a break, maybe refresh. A lot of them don't have a chance to have a break, Jen, if they're training at altitude sometimes in the winter. That rest period, if you like, is gone. So 2020 was a good opportunity for a lot of athletes to say, right, I'm going to have a refresh and a recharge and a reset.
Yeah, I think it just gave a lot of people, like you say, just that opportunity to maybe just break the cycle. You know, some people just decided not to race at all, to do a little bit more training, work on things that you normally can't work on. And then other people actually seem to, you know, take advantage of every opportunity there was. So we've already seen two athletes, Laura Muir and Gemma Reekie. They raced extensively last year, and Gemma Reekie particularly had such a breakthrough season. So, you know, it can work different ways for different athletes. So, yeah, interesting to see the different approaches that various people have took. And again, you know, one of those things where some people may have been coming back from, you know, starting a family, or people might have been injured. A lot of people are actually appreciating that extra year because it's just give them time to resettle, sort themselves out. And I think there's never been such an exciting prospect of an Olympic Games. Everyone wants to be there, and the extra year has probably made such a difference to quite a lot of athletes.
Well, the athletes on the right-hand side of the shot there, you can see, started to get themselves ready for the 1,500 metres. And there is a man who's used to much shorter distances than this, Donovan Brazier, stepping up to the 1,500 metres for what is his third senior competitive race over this distance. 3:35 personal best, which was set on a local track in Portland last summer. There's Bryce Hopple. I reckon this is only his third 1,500 metres as well. His PB is due for a lot of revision. He did say he used to do the 4, the 8 and the 4x4 as well for his college team. But of course, Bryce Hopple just missed out on the medals at 800 metres in Doha, finishing in 4th position. But the men's 1,500, fascinating to see, with Hobbs Kessler, the bright young talent as well in this, taking some great race experience against some of the best. Ollie Hoare of Australia, also one who's got Olympic aspirations, the Oceania indoor record holder. John Gregoric, Pan American silver medalist as well. And I'm sure they're watching in New Zealand for Geordie Beamish, the NCAA indoor mile champion as well.
Well, this one looks like it's pretty hot right from the beginning here. We've got pacemaker Craig Nowak. He's taken them through 800 metres in 1:52, and he's going to try to get to the 1,000 in 2:21. So doing my calculations, that looks like it's just outside 3 minutes 30. So I'm sure Brazier and Hopple will just really enjoy just, you know, getting the ride, not having to do too much work. And already we can see there's 3 that are pulling away, and Hopple is in that, you know, really awkward middle ground that he'll not be used to. And Brazier and the rest of the field, there's a 10 to 15 metre gap already just after 1 lap.
Well, there's Donovan Brazier in the middle of that chasing group at the moment. It's Novak the pacemaker then, with Ollie Hoare leading the main pack behind him. Justin Knight of Canada tucked in there, the shortest of those 3 runners. And then Bryce Hopple, as you say, slightly in no man's land in 4th. Trip Hurt and Donovan Brazier then, with a move being made round the outside by Sam Prakel as well in that chasing pack. But certainly the pacemaker, Craig Novak, who we mentioned earlier on, heartbreak with his steeplechase Olympic qualifier, is taking Hoare and Knight with him at the moment, and Hopple trying to keep these leading 3 in sight.
Yeah, and it's been an honest pace right from the beginning there. I'm just having a look to see what sort of pace that they're on, and we'll be able to see in another 100 metres when the caption goes back. But they go through 800 metres. The pace target is 1 minute 52. I think they're just slightly off that at the moment. Let's have a look. 1:54-ish. So yeah, around about 3:32. And Ollie Hoare of Australia has already ran 3:32.55 indoors in February, which was a national record and actually 7th all time. So let's see how he's going to go at this pace.
Well, it's Ollie Hoare and Justin Knight at the moment, well clear. Bryce Hopple had a bit of a pained look on his face in 3rd position. Donovan Brazier still right back, the 800 metres world champion, the American record holder, beating Johnny Gray's record, of course, in Doha as well. But it is Ollie Hoare of Australia and Justin Knight of Canada who will come up to take the bell here in around about 2:35, there or thereabouts. And Ollie Hoare starts to put the hammer down now and stretch away from Justin Knight. They were 2:36 at the bell.
Well, we did know that Ollie Hoare did intend to run from the front. He intended just to run as fast as he can and work hard, and this is exactly what he set out to do, and he's doing so. Down that back straight now, this is where it really hurts, the last quarter of any race, but you can see in 3rd place there, Brazier is coming through, but Hoare is a long way in front, and Justin Knight's just gritting his teeth there, and let's see what time he can finish with.
Well, the Oceania indoor record holder, the Australian team, is pretty busy and stacked with 1,500-metre talents with the likes of Stuart McSwain and Jai Edwards as well. But it is Ollie Hoare who's dictated this race from a long way out. Battle on in behind, Donovan Brazier coming through in 3rd, closing on Justin Knight. But a fine run from Ollie Hoare, who latched onto the pacemaker here. His PB previously is 3:34, and he's inside that. It's a lifetime best for Ollie Hoare. Justin Knight finishes 2nd. Brazier in the end hanging on for 3rd, just ahead of Sam Prakel. A hugely encouraging run for Ollie Hoare, who takes his PB down to 3:33.54.
Yeah, he's a real improver during this indoor season, taking his time all the way down to 3:32.55 and just 1 second slower there, 3:33.5 on obviously unstable conditions. Indoors, you're not going to have any wind, you know exactly what you're going to get, and you can just see he's working really hard all the way to the line there, well under that Olympic qualification time of 3:35, and a big win for Ollie Hoare there.
Ollie Hoare, he has the Olympic qualifier actually from indoors in New York, 3:32. He's run indoors in New York in February, so we knew he was in reasonably good shape coming into this, but an outdoor lifetime best for him, which really does bode well. And Australian 1,500 metres running, really looking strong. Confirmation there of an outdoor lifetime best for Hoare, 3:33. PB2 for Justin Knight, 3:35.85. As you mentioned, Jen, the Olympic standard is 3:35, so that is close but no cigar. Bryce Hopple, we said his PB was due for revision. He just found it tough in the 2nd half of the race, but a useful strength exercise, I'm sure. And that PB really is slightly meaningless, isn't it, down in 9th position?
Yeah, both of those guys, I'm sure they were just intended to do one 1,500-metre run this season. I bet the coach said you have to do one, so they got it in early, and yeah, they'll probably be pleased that they can go over the shorter distance for the rest of the season.
Interesting to see them both line up in that race, isn't it? Often you do get some of the protagonists who they do avoid each other a little bit, but it's good to see the likes of Brazier and Hopple, albeit competing over unfamiliar distance. Let's hope we get to see them taking on each other over the 800 metres distance over the course of the next few months, as again we have a slight delay in the shot put due to that heavy rain falling there. Oh, it's not a delay, in fact it's a change of throwing order, so we're going to see Danielle Thomas-Dodd instead. Each athlete has to put their individual towels down in their particular formation, but again, safety is the key, I guess. But when the athletes have travelled from wherever they've come from, either across the US or further afield, most of the athletes involved in this meeting are either Oregon-based or certainly have been training not too far away across the US somewhere. Then everybody wants to take the opportunity to compete, but not taking undue risks. This competition is certainly taking quite a while due to the rain stoppages, but Chase Ely is still out in front with 18 metres at 93. Danielle Thomas-Dodd, 18.46. Our last track event, by the way, which is due to go up in literally a moment or two, will be the men's 400 metres, as we see training partners and teammates Rai Benjamin and Michael Norman take on each other, and there again is an emphasis of the problems that these athletes are having in the shot put, as Danielle Thomas-Dodd sends that one way out of the sector to the right.
She's very animated, isn't she?
She certainly is. Okay, Chase Ely, the event leader. So we've seen one athlete knock it literally, throw it literally 90 degrees sideways. We've seen Thomas Dodd miss the sector by quite a long way. Chase Ely on that occasion, landing it in the sector. It's hard to tell, isn't it, when we can't see the distance markings on the edge of the shot sector, exactly which of those lines they're landing between. Oh, we nearly got a shot of it, just zoomed in too quick. But it's Ely the leader, as we see the blocks and the athletes at the bottom of your shot starting to get themselves ready. They've waited patiently for their opportunity, as we see the live standings in the women's shot put.
And we're just going to come up to this long anticipated men's 400 metres. I've been excited about this ever since I saw the lineup, Chris. What an absolute abundance of riches. You know, we've got Rashard Clark, he's a national indoor champion. We've got Justin Robinson, he's the world under-18 record holder, well, best we say at that event, 44.84 when he was just 17 years of age. We're seeing Michael Norman here. He was definitely the favourite for that World Championships in Doha, but unfortunately suffered from an injury. We've got Rai Benjamin. He's obviously the silver medalist from the World Championships over the 400-metre hurdles. We've got Emmanuel Correa, we've got Michael Cherry, Matthew Hudson-Smith, and we've got Nathan Strother. He was seeing images of Rai Benjamin. All of these guys have come run 44 seconds, and this is just April.
Yeah, Rai Benjamin, of course, the silver medalist, as you say, over the hurdles, behind a certain Karsten Warholm of Norway. Took a relay gold as well in Doha. Teammate of Michael Norman's at the Nike team. Training partners, flatmates. Certainly know each other inside out here. And they are drawn alongside each other in lane 4 and 5. Rashard Clark right on the inside in lane 2. Justin Robinson, Pan American bronze medalist in 3, just 19 years of age. Rai Benjamin in 4, Michael Norman in 5. Emmanuel Correa in lane 6. Who is the 6th fastest man of all time, by the way, over 400 metres. Matt Hudson-Smith of Great Britain, who's been training out in the US, based in Florida. Fortunately suffered an injury in the heat in Doha, so his World Championships didn't work out as he liked. Michael Cherry, he's in 7, just inside Hudson-Smith. And Nathan Strother, strong indoor performer, right on the outside in lane 9. The men's 400 metres. So away first time, an interesting test then for Rai Benjamin on the flat. It's Michael Norman who's gone out well and already up on Emmanuel Correa outside him. Michael Cherry also going well, 2 from the outside. Cherry with Norman on his inside. Rai Benjamin looking to use his hurdle strength in the second half of the race. But Norman in the headband now will start to feel his teammate Rai Benjamin coming on the inside of him, and it's Benjamin right up on the inside of Norman as they straighten up for home. Correa working hard but going backwards. It's still Norman now responding well to Benjamin's pressure, and Michael Norman will come away to take this. Norman from Benjamin, a fast finish from Justin Robinson, the teenager, to take third, and Michael Norman 44.67. Only a 100th of a second, Jen, outside his personal best. Correction, sorry, that's Michael Cherry. Michael Norman, a second outside his personal best. Get me and Michael's mixed up.
Well, the thing that really struck me is how much Michael Norman wanted that. He went out quick from the start, and then when Rai Benjamin came and put him under pressure at 300 metres, he gritted his teeth. So not only did he have the speed to get out, but he also had the strength to hang on and pull away. I knew that was going to be a competitive race. We wanted to see it. The lane setup actually made the race so exciting, with Norman being on the outside and Benjamin having the benefit of being able to see him. But 44.6 seconds in April, in the rain. I'd love to see what they're going to do come July and August in that summer.
Yeah, really encouraging for Michael Norman, as you mentioned, Jen. His Doha World Championships didn't pan out as he would have liked, but 44.67, that sets the tone for his year to come. Right, Benjamin, really encouraging run, as we say, switching over the hurdles to his Tokyo focus. And Justin Robinson, that's a very promising run from the teenager in third in a high-quality field in 44.55. As we come towards the end of our live broadcast here, the opening stop of the Continental Tour Gold here from Hayward Field in Eugene, Oregon. Next up, 9th of May, will be a doubleheader, Tokyo and the Golden Games in Boston. Both of those to come on the 9th of May as the Continental Tour Gold wraps up into steps 2 and 3. Hope you've enjoyed the coverage from myself, Chris Temple, and Jenny Meadows, wherever you've been watching us around the world. From us, it's goodbye.
You had your moment to measure and then, right, tell me about that decision and then what's the hold up?
I mean, it was a good one. First one of the year. I was able to be back out here in the stadium. And, you know, I think I executed my race plan right. The clock just didn't, like, you know, anything like that. But first one, you know, tough conditions out here.